Step 12, part 2. We're at the top of page. Well, I thought it was. Yep, this top of page 110. Practically every AA member declares that no satisfaction has been deeper and no joy greater than in a 12th step job well done. To watch the eyes of men and women open with wonder as they move from darkness into light, to see how their lives quickly fill with new purpose and meaning, to see whole families reassembled, to see the alcoholic outcast received back into his community in full citizenship, and above all, to watch these people awaken to the presence of a loving God in their lives. These are the substance of what we receive as we carry AA's message to the next alcoholic. There's a lot of things that come with that. There's joy and satisfaction, hope, just a lot of good stuff. But the most important thing is awakening to the presence of a loving God in their lives, I think. Nor is this the only kind of 12-step work. We sit in AA meetings and listen, not only to receive something ourselves, but to give reassurance and support which our presence can bring. If our turn comes to speak at a meeting, we again try to carry AA's message. Whether our audience is one or many, it is still 12-step work. There are many opportunities, even for those of us who feel unable to speak at meetings, or those who are so situated that we cannot do much face-to-face 12-step work. We can be the ones who take on the unspectacular but important tasks that make good 12-step work possible, perhaps arranging for the coffee and cake after the meetings, where so many skeptical, suspicious newcomers have found confidence and comfort in the laughter and talk. This is 12-step work in the very best sense of the word. Freely you have received, freely give is the core of this part of step 12. That is Matthew 10:8. Freely you have received, freely give. This verse is a biblical principle that suggests people should. So this is a principle, okay? So the spiritual principles, okay, like the principle of step 12 is service, but there's the spiritual principle, okay? This is the biblical spiritual principle that suggests people should use their gifts and blessings for the glory of God and the benefit of others. The idea is that people should give freely because the gifts that they receive cannot be earned, bought, or bargained for. Don't know where I got that. We may often pass through 12-step experiences where we will seem to be temporarily off the beam. This will appear as big setbacks at the time, but will be seen later as stepping stones to better things. For example, we may have set our hearts on getting a particular person sobered up, and after doing all we can for months, we see him relapse. Perhaps this will happen in a succession of cases, and we may be deeply discouraged as to our ability to carry AA's message, or we may encounter the reverse situation in which we are highly elated, happy, because we seem to have been successful. Here, the temptation is to become rather possessive of these newcomers. Perhaps we try to give them advice about their affairs which we aren't really competent to give or ought not give at all. So we're not qualified. I'm not qualified as a therapist. I'm not qualified as a marriage counselor. And I'm not qualified as a minister. All I can do is share my viewpoints, my experience. Then we're hurt and confused when the advice is rejected or when it is accepted and brings still greater confusion. By a great deal of ardent 12-step work, we sometimes carry the message to so many alcoholics that they place us in a position of trust. They make us, let's say, the group's chairman. Here again, we're presented with the temptation to overmanage things, and sometimes this results in rebuffs and other consequences which are hard to take. We're presented with tests to control things, and sometimes in attempting to control things, the rebuffs are going to be rejections and other consequences that are hard to ignore. But in the longer run, we clearly see that these are only the pains of growing up, and nothing but good can come from them if we turn more and more to the entire 12 steps for answers. What are the pains of growing up? I thought, well, that's a phrase I've heard before, but I guess I lost my little insert on that. Oh, here it is. Pains of growing up can refer to the emotional challenges that people face, such as separation, self-doubt, uncertainty about who you are or want to be, stress, the stress of making choices and the stress of failure, the pressure to achieve and be valued, uh, toxic environments, the risk of staying in or seeking out abusive or toxic social environments. You're going to be I got stuff to say that I'm not going to say. Now comes the biggest question yet. What about the practice of these principles in all of our affairs? Can we love the whole pattern of living as eagerly as we do the small segment of it we discover when we try to help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety? A pattern of living refers to repetitive cycles, routines, habits, interactions, and lifestyle choices. Can we bring the same spirit of love and tolerance into our sometimes deranged family lives that we bring into our AA group? Deranged means disorder, insane, mentally ill. Can we have the same kind of confidence and faith in these people who have been infected and sometimes crippled by our own illness that we have in our sponsors? I wouldn't think so. I don't even know why they say that. Why would we want to have confidence and faith and, I guess, belief? Can we actually carry the AA spirit into our daily work? Spirit. Mood. Can we meet our newly recognized responsibilities to the world at large? And can we bring new purpose and devotion to the religion of our choice? Can we find a new joy of living in trying to do something about all these things? Well, page 112. So I have purpose and devotion somewhere has like a little paper, but here it is. Purpose is the reason for doing something or the end for which something is created or exists. It can also refer to a person's overreaching intention that is personally meaningful and has a positive impact on the world. Devotion. Um, I think when it talks about purpose and devotion to your religion, um, fitting into maybe fitting into a service area of the church, and devotion is spending a significant amount of time on something, being devoted to it. Religious worship is a devotion. Okay. Including prayers and other religious practices are called devotions. Furthermore, how shall we come to terms with seeming failure or success? Can we now accept and adjust to either without despair or pride? Despair means to lose hope. Can we hold on to our hope? Can we accept poverty, sickness, loneliness, and bereavement, which is grief, with courage and serenity? Can we steadfastly content ourselves with the humbler yet sometimes more durable satisfactions when the brighter, more glittering achievements are denied us? Can I be happy with can I just be grateful for my sobriety to begin with? You know, can I just be happy with what I got? Basically, I guess. The AA answer to these questions about living is yes, all these things are possible. We know this because we see monotony, dull repetition. That's what monotony is. We see monotony, pain, and even calamity turn to good use by those who keep on trying to practice AA's 12 steps. I guess you don't lose until you quit trying. And if these are facts of life for many alcoholics, if these are facts of life for the many alcoholics who have recovered in AA, then they can become facts of life for many more. Of course, all AAs, even the best, will fall short of such achievements on a consistent thing. So maybe we're not going to continuously, constantly live up to like the perfect ideal of what we would like to be in Alcoholics Anonymous. We're going to fall short, maybe, but without necessarily taking that first drink, we often get quite far off the beam. Our troubles sometimes begin with indifference. This is important. I'm learning that indifference is the opposite of love. Hate's not the opposite of love. Indifference is. And indifference means lack of interest, concern, or sympathy. You just get bored. Apathy, boredom, unimportance. I don't want AA to my recovery to lose its importance. When you become apathetic or unconcerned about something, it can easily lead to a situation where you miss important opportunities, fail to address issues that need attention, or become disengaged from your life, essentially trapping you in a passive state where you aren't actively participating or making decisions. Quit trying, I guess. We are sober and happy in our AA work. Things go well at home and office. We naturally congratulate ourselves on what later proves to be a far too easy and superficial point of view. So things are going good and we're staying sober and we say, oh, we're doing good, right? Superficial means looking at a situation or issue only based on what is readily apparent on the surface, without considering deeper complexities, underlying factors, and important details, essentially judging something based on first impression or obvious, I don't know, without delving into deeper analysis. Go deep into recovery as deep as you can, learn as much as you can, keep learning, don't stop. We temporarily cease to grow because we feel satisfied that there's no need for all of AA's 12 steps for us. We are doing fine on a few of them. Maybe we're doing fine on only 2 of them. The first step in that part of the 12 step where we carry the message. In AA slang, that blissful state is known as two-stepping, and it can go on for years. The best intentioned of us can fall for the two-step illusion. Sooner or later, the pink cloud stage wears off, and things go disappointingly dull. That's the pink cloud, step 1 and step 12, and not doing everything in between. Pink cloud stage is a period of intense happiness and optimism that people often experience in the early stages of recovery, characterized by feelings of euphoria, hope, and a sense of being high on life after the initial withdrawal symptoms subside. It's considered a common part of the recovery journey, but can be problematic if it leads to unrealistic expectations and complacency about the challenges of long-term sobriety. The intense positivity can lead to overconfidence, neglecting support systems, and underestimating the ongoing effort needed for sustained sobriety. There's an ongoing, continuous effort that's needed for sustained sobriety, and we have to keep working on our support systems and get professional help. I say, if if we all need help, and we all are trying to heal and recover from whatever we went through that we used alcohol as a solution to, and we're all healing and needing to recover, and we're all together trying to heal together, need to recover. That's great, but the blind can't lead the blind, and that's why I think if I want to be able to help another human being, I have to have that outside help. We begin to think that AA doesn't pay off after all. We become puzzled and discouraged, confused and depressed. So if you're confused and depressed, it probably means you need to get with your sponsor or your therapist and get through some more steps. Then perhaps life, as it has a way of doing, suddenly hands us a great big lump that we can't begin to swallow, let alone digest. We failed to get a worked for a promotion. We lose that good job. Maybe there are serious domestic or romantic difficulties. Or perhaps that boy we thought God was looking after becomes a military casualty. What then? Have we alcoholics in AA got, or can we get, the resources to meet these calamities, which come to so many? Resources are an action or strategy which may be adopted in adverse circumstances. I used to carry around a bag. In my bag, I'd have my big book, meditation book, a notebook, and a pen. I'd have a little therapy squeeze toy for stress. I'd have little things that I could do. It was a plan of action when I became over anxious or overwhelmed to help me learn how to calm down. So now we have a plan of action. If before something happens, we set up our support system. We practice calling people. We get into therapy. We learn how to some coping skills so that when something happens, we have a plan of action in place. Well, can we transform these calamities into assets, sources of growth and comfort to ourselves and those about us? Yeah, because how can you comfort anyone who hasn't been through what you've been through? I mean, you can't comfort someone if you don't know what it's like to be where they're at. I mean, you can, but not very successful, not as successfully, I don't think. Well, we surely have a chance if we switch from two-stepping to 12-stepping. If we are willing to receive that grace of God, which can sustain and strengthen us in any catastrophe. Grace of God. The grace. Our basic troubles are the same as everyone else's, but when an honest effort is made to practice these principles in all our affairs, well-grounded AAs seem to have the ability, by God's grace, to take these troubles in stride and turn them into demonstrations of faith. How do you do that? Demonstrations of faith, examples, prayer, testimony. If you get through something that's difficult, you share how you did it. It's your testimony. Being generous, generosity, obedience to God, taking steps of faith, doing things that may not make sense to your natural mind, or doing things you don't necessarily feel like doing. James 2:17. So also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. But someone will say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without works, and I'll show you my faith by my works. You believe that there is one God. You do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. Uh, if I have faith, if we have faith, it's going to turn into an action. I think you can take actions without faith, but you can't really have faith without taking actions. A leap of faith. You got to take a leap of faith. If you want to get sober, clean and sober, you got to take a leap of faith. You got to do that one thing that you don't want to do. If you don't want to go into treatment, do that. If you don't want to go to detox, do that. If you don't want to go to a meeting, do that. You don't want to call a sponsor, don't want to get one, don't want to work the steps, don't want to do everything that you don't want to do. Take a leap of faith. We have seen AA suffer lingering and fatal illness with little complaint and often in good cheer. We have sometimes seen families broken apart by misunderstanding, tensions, or actual infidelity who are reunited by the AA way of life. Though the earning power of most AAs is relatively high, we have some members who never seem to get on their feet money-wise, and still others who encounter heavy financial reverses. Ordinarily, we see these situations met with fortitude and faith. What is fortitude? Are we just going to read words and not know what they mean? Because I'm not doing that. I don't pretend to know. Fortitude means strength of mind that enables a person to encounter danger or bear pain or adversity with courage. Faith means trust or confidence in a religious belief, loyalty. Faith can also mean devotion to a person or duty, or the quality of keeping one's promise, set of beliefs. Bad faith is insincerity or dishonesty. Good faith is honesty or sincerity, especially in business. Ah, to experience and accept adversity, challenges, and persevere without complaint. Like most people, we found that we can take our lumps as they come. That's what that means. But also, like others, we often discover a greater challenge in the lesser and more continuous problems of life. We don't sweat the small stuff. Our answer is in still more spiritual development, growth. Only by this means can we improve our chances for really happy and useful living. And as we grow spiritually, we find that our old attitudes toward instincts need to undergo drastic revisions. So, as I'm learning and growing spiritually, the way I think about and believe about instincts is going to seriously change. Seriously change. Our desires for emotional security and wealth, for personal prestige and power, for romance, and for family satisfactions, all these have to be tempered and redirected. Why? Because if we want to stay clean and sober, we have to learn. We're learning what it means, and we can practice applying it. But we want to stay sober. We're going to have to temper means to tone it down, and redirect means to change course. So, our desires for emotional security, wealth, prestige, power, romance, and family satisfaction have to change. What ways do they have to change? Well, it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody has their own unique set of problems, but you can go over it and see and check and see. An instinct is a complex, it's behaviors that are not learned, but are driven by the need to survive. So that's what instincts are. Ah, desires for emotional security. Emotional security. Might not have emotional security. I can only look the same thing up so many different times. I guess I don't have it. Wealth, personal prestige. Personal prestige. Personal prestige is the respect and value that someone has because of their social position or what they've done. Status, personal prestige, and power refer to the level of respect, admonition, and influence an individual holds within a social group or community, essentially signifying their ability to sway opinions and actions of others based on their perceived status and reputation, often earned through achievements, expertise, or social standing rather than formal authority. While someone in a high ranking position might have personal power, true personal prestige comes from being respected and admired by others beyond their title. While prestige can be a powerful tool, it is not the same as direct power like authority to command, which might be derived from a formal position or control over resources. Some people do want the ability to influence and control other people. Family satisfactions. I thought that was a curious turn of phrase too. So what are family satisfactions? Refers to the overall positive feelings and sense of well-being that individuals experience within their family unit, encompassing aspects like feeling loved, supported, respected, and connected to other family members, essentially signifying a high level of quality in family relationships. I wouldn't know. Key elements: a strong communication, open and honest sharing of thoughts and feelings. Emotional support, feeling cared for and understood by family members. Positive interactions, uh, regular expressions of affection and appreciation. Shared values and goals, alignment on important life principles and aspirations. Sense of belonging, feeling like a valued part of the family unit. Adaptability, ability to adjust to changing circumstances and life transitions. Conflict resolution skills, effectively managing disagreements in a healthy way. Individual perception. Family satisfaction is subjective and depends on each person's perception of their family relationships. Family dynamics. Family satisfaction is a key topic studied in psychology and sociology, with researchers often using surveys to measure individual levels of family satisfaction. The extent to which a service or support meets a need, solves a problem, or adds value for a family, or as determined by the family receiving the service. We have learned that the satisfaction of instincts cannot be the sole end and aim of our lives. Sole end and aim of our lives. Cannot be our primary purpose and only purpose and reason for living. So my reason for living can't be to breathe and eat and get all my needs met. There has to be something more than fulfilling my desires. If we place instincts first, we've got the cart before the horse. We shall be pulled backward into disillusionment. But when we're willing to place spiritual growth first, then and only then do we have a real chance. So, to have a real chance, we have to put God first and our recovery first and go for it 100%. I'm gonna look up disillusionment and emotional security, and then I'm gonna stop. Lost. I don't know where it's from. I just found it a minute ago. Probably not if I have the light on. Or not. Okay, emotional security. Feeling of the feeling of being safe, confident, and stable in one's relationships, emotional experiences, and situations. It's an important aspect of mental health and well being. People who are emotionally secure have a healthy relationship with their emotions. They don't avoid or ignore uncomfortable emotions and they don't try to fix them. They also don't overreact to stressors or take things too personally. In relationships, emotional security means feeling safe enough to be vulnerable and honest. It can lead to deeper and more meaningful partnerships. Some ways to build emotional security include self care and self compassion. These can come from mindfulness, relaxation exercises, and connecting with others. Improving communication. Avoid hurtful behaviors like the silent treatment. Showing commitment should show dedication, exclusivity, and faithfulness. Setting boundaries, base your decisions and actions on what best serves you. That's going to be all for now as part 2 of step 12. And we'll be at the top of page 115 for part 3.